All right, just to set everything straight, I have not seen any cards in the set except for what we've already reviewed for the most part. That's not true. I've seen like 8 or 10 cards, and we've already seen a couple of those. So most of these I don't know. I'm going over them for the first time. If you're just joining the stream, uh, I'm just giving like my first blush, what I think we can do with them. Are they good or bad in standard? Whatever. Feel free to leave comments if you have crazy ideas of that you can do with the decks or with the cards. But yeah. Question here is, when is pre-release? I believe if I check a calendar here, you're going to see the online, whatever they're calling now, the streamer thing on August 31st, and the pre-releases will be that weekend. So that Friday, Saturday, so September 1, 2, and 3. And then the set will go live on Arena on that Tuesday and then be for sale that following Friday. So yeah, there you go. And then to start with here in black, we have Ashiok Wicked Manipulator. There is a lot of stuff going on here. I had seen this card though because they promoted it early, but 3 colorless, black, 5 loyalty. If you would pay life while your library has at least that many cards in it, exile that many cards from your top of your library instead. So if you have stuff that has a cost of like pay 3 life, instead you exile 3 cards from the top of your library. You can +1 loyalty to look at the top 2 cards of your library, exile one of them, and put the other into your hand. You can -2, create 2 1/1 Black Nightmare creature tokens with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if a card was put into exile this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Or you can just -7, target player exiles the top X cards of their library, where X is the total mana value of cards you own and exile. This card feels good. I just don't know what the heck I'm going to do with it, to be honest. It's like getting to pay alternate costs to get stuff cheap or free is cool as far as like abilities or something. Getting 2 1/1s is nice, and because you have multiple ways to possibly exile things, that could be good. But yeah, I don't know. It's a 5 mana planeswalker that doesn't feel impactful immediately comparatively to what we have right now, but that it could also be purposeful that they're trying to tone down the planeswalkers a little bit. But at some point, I'm sure I'm just going to die to this because somebody's going to make a deck that has like, all the big cards, the 5, 6, 7 mana things, and I'm going to get milled for like 25 or something. But that's okay. If you get me that way, you get me. It's an interesting card. It's neat. I just don't know at all what I would do to build around this just yet. Beseech the Mirror. Colorless, black. So they definitely want this to be hard to deal with. You can bargain it, and then search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. If this spell was bargained, you may cast the exile spell without paying its mana cost if that spell's mana value is 4 or less. Put the exiled card into your hand if it wasn't cast this way. This card feels pretty good, y'all. I mean, here's the thing. Like, it costs 4 to just go search for a card, basically, right? You go find the thing, put it in your hand. But if you have a way to sacrifice something, and the thing you want to cast is 4 or less, you just get to cast the thing. And there's a lot of things we play with right now that are 4 or less. There's planeswalkers, there's sweepers like Depopulate, there's all kinds of things that decks could want to get with this. So this card's actually pretty cool. And I'm wondering if this is impactful in stuff like, I was going to say like Pioneer or Modern, but really Legacy probably plays a card like this, I would think. This is pretty good. I'm into this. I'm feeling it. Tiggertron, I should say here, says tutor and cast Shieldred, I'm assuming. Yeah. That's also a thing you can do, right? You get rid of some 1/1 or 2/2, or hell, even something that comes back like your underdog to go get Shieldred for 4 mana. So that's totally a viable play. Yeah, this is a cool card. I would not be surprised if this ends up being a pretty expensive card in the set, for real. Cruel Somnophage. Colorless and a black for an XX Nightmare. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Can't Wake Up is the sorcery adventure for colorless and a blue. Target player mills 4 cards. This just feels fine. It's got a Nightmare / Lorgoyf type effect. Just mill your opponent, put stuff in the yard. Hopefully for 2 mana, get like an 8/8 or something, right? This is fine. Not a lot to really say about it. If mill decks are decent, this card's probably decent. If they're not, then eh. I will say though, there have been both blue-white and blue-black mill decks, mostly on the back of Jace these days. And they could possibly use a couple of reasonable threats. And this is a card that could fit into those decks and help it close the clock a little more consistently. So, sure, why not? It doesn't have trample or anything, so you can still just jump block it all day, but it's not a bad card. Devouring Sugar Maw. 2 colorless, black. Like, okay, before I read the rest of this card, can we just appreciate this artwork? Like, seriously. This is the most, it's like a sugar glaze covered donut thing with 3 layers of teeth inside. And it's got, I'm assuming, cherries for eyeballs. And what are the, like, gummy worms for legs? Or something. I don't even know what's going on with this card. Like, that artwork is wild. I don't know what the art director notes were for this thing, but I'm sure they nailed it, whatever it was. Like, this is crazy. But anyway, back to the card. It's a 6/6 horror with menace and trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. If you don't, tap Devouring Sugar Maw. It has a white and a colorless for have for dinner. Instant, create a 1/1 white human creature token and a food token. This one's really good, too. I mean, all right, so have for dinner, you get to make a human and a food token, just straight up, right? So you're getting 2 tokens for 2 mana, which we know there's a bunch of cards that care about tokens, token creatures, food, whatever, right? This is checking a lot of boxes. And then later on, you just get a 6/6 for 4. And the best part about it is, it's not a mandatory sacrifice. So if you can wait till you get other food or whatever, and then you can sacrifice, and now you have your 6/6 again. Or you don't, and you're like, all right, well, I guess you just have to tap it. You know, it is what it is. But it does have menace and trample. So that's pretty legit. Your opponent can't even just like chump block with 2 1/1s and not take damage. Like, this card is stout. And if you have something that's generating tokens or treasure or food or whatever every turn, yeah, this card's going to be hard to deal with. I like it. This one's fun. And it has wild artwork. Like, that artwork is something else. What else do we got here in black? Gumdrop Poisoner. This, okay. Now, we just had a sweet piece of artwork. This almost feels too serious for being called the Gumdrop Poisoner. You know what I mean? I'm picturing, like, the old lady from the witch from Hansel and Gretel, like, injecting stuff into the food she's going to try to give the little kids or something, you know? 2 colorless and a black for a 3/2 human warlock with lifelink. So that's actually not bad. 3 for a 3/2 with lifelink. And it happens to be a human. When this card enters the battlefield, up to 1 target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. And the adventure is Tempt with Tears for 1 black as an instant, create a food token. Yeah, this card's just solid. Again, I like a 2 toughness for 3 mana is not great in current standard, but you're getting a 3/2 for 3. It does have lifelink. In multiples, it's really good because you can give stuff minuses when it comes into play. Also, if you just have other food, which the adventure part of this creates food, but, you know, you sacrifice a food at some point during that turn, or gain life otherwise from lifelinkers or whatever, then you play this, you can kill off something, probably a big creature. This is kind of neat. What I like about this card is, the card itself isn't like gangbusters good, but in a deck that's able to gain life or cares about creating food tokens or whatever, this becomes an actual real threatening card. And after the fact, it also just gains life, which is pretty cool. I like this quite a bit. This card's pretty neato. What do we got here? Lich Knight's Conquest. 4 colorless and a black sorcery. Sacrifice any number of artifacts, enchantments, and or tokens. Return that many cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Ooh, this is neat. Okay. This had my interest. Now it has my attention. You know what I mean? Like, this card's kind of cool. You're talking about 5 mana, so you can't play a lot of these. You're playing 1, usually, if you're going to play it, maybe 2. But being able to sacrifice any number of artifacts, enchantments, or tokens is cool because there are a lot of times you have, like, extra treasure or extra food or whatever sitting around. And you'd be like, cool, I'm going to get rid of, like, 3 of these and get my 3 best creatures back. And it's not even from into your hand. It's from the graveyard to the battlefield. Like, this becomes almost a must counter card. I'm into this. This is cool. Again, I don't think you can play a lot of them, but I think it is reasonable to say, like, all right, I'm going to play 1, maybe 2, and just hope to draw them late game and have, like, a get out of jail free card. Assuming your opponent's not playing Farewell and sacrificing your graveyard, blah, 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 right? A lot of sacrifice effects right now. But, again, this could also be a good commander card, right? Game goes a little bit long. You've got some extra tokens sitting around you're not doing anything with, or maybe some 1/1s that can't punch through for an attack, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to get my 5 or 6 best things back out of the graveyard. Like, this is cool. This is cool. I can respect this card. Let's see what else we got here. Now, we got quite a few rares still. Lord Skitters Blessing, a colorless and a black for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, create a Wicked Roll token attached to target creature you control. And this creature gets +1/+1. When it's put into the graveyard, each opponent loses 1 life. At the beginning of your draw step, if you control an enchanted creature, you lose 1 life and draw an additional card. So it's just a really slow version of Phyrexian Arena? I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I guess if I have a deck that cares about rolls, then sure, because I'm putting a thing on a creature, it's getting +1/+1. I'm getting some extra value here. All right. But, meh? Like I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not, like, it's hard for me to want to be super excited about this. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think, like, what would have made me excited about this card. Let's see, if you control an enchanted creature, it's just, I mean, we have versions of this, right, where it's lose a life, draw a card, and we have Phyrexian Arena right now that people would play. It's possibly better than Phyrexian Arena in some decks, but even then, you'd have to have a creature already on 1, and then this on 2, so you could put the roll on something, and then you are better than Phyrexian Arena, right? So, even that's not great, and then your opponent kills off your creature, and then you're not getting cards. So, yeah, I'm not feeling this one too much. I'm not there on it. Like, I want to be, but I'm trying to talk myself into it, but I don't think I can. I don't think that's where we're at. A roll is a counter or a token that counts as an aura. Like, it's very weird. Lord Skitter, Sewer King, 2 colorless and a black, 3/3. So we got a 3/4/3/3 Rat Noble. Whenever another rat enters the battlefield under your control, exile up to 1 target card in your opponent's graveyard. At the beginning of a combat on your turn, create a 1/1 black rat creature token with this creature can't block. You know what? I'm feeling this card. This card's more than fine. Like, if you are playing something that already cares about tokens or making tokens and happens to be playing black, or if you just wanted to splash black for a couple of copies of this just makes a token every turn. Now, admittedly, your token can't block, but we've already been making whatever the other little artifact tokens that can't block anyway, right? From like Skrelv's Hive. So that's not really that big a deal. But then you get the added bonus that you get to remove stuff from your opponent's graveyard just because a rat came into play. So, yeah, it's weird that it's a rat that doesn't pump your other rats, but at the same time, it gives you a rat that has an ETB ability, and it's just making an extra attacker every turn. So, yeah, this card's fine. I don't think it's gangbusters, but if I'm playing a rat deck, obviously I want this. If I'm playing some type of token deck, this obviously makes the cut. And it is a 3/3 body, so it can do a fair amount of fighting on its own. I'm into it. I don't think this is going to be like an expensive card. You could probably pick these up for, I don't know, probably $1 after set release. But, it's fine. I would play it. Specific decks, but I would play it. I would not say it's a new Trespasser because you don't drain life or gain life. That is a very big part of Trespasser. Malevolent Witchkite, 4 colorless, black for a 5/4 Dragon Warlock. I think that's the first time we've seen those words on a card together. Flying. When this card enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of artifacts, enchantments, and tokens. Then draw that many cards. Ooh, this is fun. So it's a 6 mana 5/4 flyer. But you can sacrifice artifacts, enchantments, or tokens and get that many cards. You could sacrifice rolls. You could sacrifice just regular 1/1s, rats maybe that can't block at that point in the game. There's a lot. There's a lot you could do with this. Again, I don't think you can play a lot of them. This is like a 1 or 2 of at best in a deck. But I will say, If you happen to be playing a deck that can generate a lot of treasure, then you could use treasure to just ramp into this, and then whatever treasure's left over or whatever, you could sacrifice and get a couple of cards, and that could be kind of cool. So yeah, I don't know. This is this one's a tough one for me. I feel like this is playable, but somewhere in the back of my brain, I'm feeling like this is better than I'm giving it credit for, and mostly because of treasure. So yeah, I'm probably going to try to squeeze this into a deck at some point just to see how I feel about it. But I feel like it has a lot of potential. Like I already kind of like it, and I feel it might like be better than I think it is. Rankle's Prank. 2 colorless, black. Choose 1 or more. Each player discards 2 cards. Each player loses 4 life. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. Yeah, about that. This card's going to be very annoying. Card's also probably going to be very good. And if you can find a way to gain life to where the life loss doesn't hurt you as much, finding ways to recast this could be pretty powerful. Doesn't get exiled from the graveyard, so if you have any type of trickery there, it's still good. Yeah, this card, it's interesting, right? Because if you're playing a discard deck, this kind of fits that. If you're playing some mid-rangey or control deck, or maybe something where you're making tokens, your opponent's not, you don't care about sacrificing 2 creatures, but I could cripple them. Just a 4/4 straight up is also, or a 4 life loss straight up, it's still a big deal. And I'm only talking about a 60 card, right? Like you go into Commander and then you start having another conversation of making everybody discard 2 cards or everybody losing 4 life. Like this is kind of cool. And what I like about this card is it's not like good enough that everybody playing Commander is going to rush to play it. It's not good enough that every 60 card player goes, oh, I have to consider this card when deck building. But it's good enough that you may have to be aware that it exists, because it's going to pop up every once in a while on the ladder, and it's going to annoy the crap out of you when it happens, but not necessarily going to be a dominant card in the format. Let's see. We're getting close to the end of black, so we're in the S's. Spectre of Mortality. 3 colorless black for a 3/3 creature spectre, hence being a Spectre of Mortality. It has flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you can exile 1 or more creature cards from your graveyard. When you do, each other creature gets -X/-X till end of turn, where X is the number of cards exiled this way. So you can basically play the Spectre, remove like 3 creatures from the graveyard, give everything else -3/-3, and then you just have a Spectre. I mean, I guess. But like, I guess when I see cards like this, my question becomes, why am I not just playing some sweeper? You know, like, would I rather have this or have Gix's Command? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm only going to remove a couple of creatures and kill 2/2s or 3/3s anyway, like, wouldn't I rather have Gix's Command? Or another turn, and then I could cast whatever the black-white one or whatever, right? That destroys all creatures with Cleave. So it's like, that's a thing. Yeah. This is one, again, I hope I'm wrong and there's more cards that are playable than not, but this one's one I just look at and go like, I don't get it. It's, if there was some other version of standard, and not even if we had the 2-year standard, I don't think this would still be good enough. I think this would be good enough in another year when we get to the other rotation, maybe. But now it's going to have to wait at least 2 years. So I don't know. I don't think this card's good enough for most constructed play. Spiteful Hexmage. 1 black for a human warlock, 3/2. Okay, this probably has a drawback. When Spiteful Hexmage enters the battlefield, create a cursed roll token attached to a target creature you control, and it gets turns it into a 1/1, being cursed. Yeah, I don't know. Like a 3, like, so it's a 3/2 for 1, but you don't necessarily want to play it on turn 1, right? Because then you just paid a 1/1 for 1. Or you do play it on turn 1, but then you have something that cares about removing rolls, or cares about something having a roll and getting a bonus or whatever. So that's a possibility. You could also play something on turn 1 that's already a 1/1 and just has some ability. Then play this, or even 2 of these on turn 2, and then just put both of your roll tokens on the other thing that's already a 1/1. So yeah, there's probably some situations or worlds where this is fine, but I don't think it's stellar or crazy on its own. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's totally possible, but I don't know. I'm not, it is a human too. That's the other thing. I think this card is playable. I just don't know in what. All right. Or Do we have a deck that even cares about Warlocks? I believe this is like the third Warlock we've seen. That could be a thing too. And are we done with the black cards? No, there's another one here. Virtue of Persistence. Oh, is this so every color got a virtue, I guess? 5 colorless, black enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Wow, that's already good. Lockwayne Scorn. It's a colorless and a black sorcery adventure. Target creature gets -3/-3 until the turn. What? For real? Like, why would you not just play this card? Seriously. This card, like, the removal option is more than acceptable. Like, it's a sorcery, so there's at least that. It's not instant speed. But 2 mana, give something -3/-3, and randomly you also gain 2 life, right? So you can buy plenty of time to get to the later stages of the game. And then late game, you're just like, okay, cool. I'm going to get one of those creatures I killed, right? It's from a graveyard. It's not even your graveyard. Yeah, I could see a lot of black decks just rocking like 2 of these. I could see every commander black deck playing this. Like, this card, for real, this card's good, y'all. Like, I'm not even joking. I would not be surprised if this is a, like, $25, $30 commander card in a couple of years. Like, because then we already have the what was the card? It was a white-black card. It had split mana. It was Orzhov mana, and it costs, like, almost the same. I think it costs, like, 6 or something. And, like, it just returned a creature from a graveyard, right? It didn't even have the sorcery part on it. Like, yeah, this card's good. This card's good. I can't even, like, make fun of this card. This card's good. Yeah, I'm just sitting here, like, in bewilderment that this card exists. I mean, we're already playing all the other things to try to get stuff out of graveyards. So we have, like, Phyrexian Portal. We're already reanimating our own stuff with the battle that does it. Right, and granted, those cost like, well, the portal costs 9, but the battles cost like 5 or whatever. There's a few reanimator spells that you can get tricky and get it down to 4 cost or whatever. But the fact that this enchantment just does it every single turn, that's good. It's actually really good. Also, as we're wrapping up the black cards, we will, if you're here late to the stream or you're going to be here later, we're going to still cover the other cards throughout the set. We've already done white and blue, so if you are watching this on video, you could just check out those videos. Also, if you haven't yet, consider being a YouTube member. That actually really helps me out a lot. And I have some levels as little as like 99 cents. I also have an upper level one. If you want to get your decks reviewed, get your decks featured on the channel, all that stuff, just check out the details. Or if you want to support me and get something cool for yourself, I do have merchandise in the little thing down below. You should check that out. But yeah, that's it. We're going to move on and do some red cards.